Hi, I'm Khaleesi Trenadu, a team member here at EnterBridge Technologies. I'm excited you could join us today as we explore some of the pitfalls of implementing robotic process automation, as well as help you understand how to jumpstart your own automation initiatives this year. For the past 20 years, EnterBridge has helped our partners digitally transform their operations to increase productivity and profits. Our customers come from a variety of industries, including healthcare, government, distribution, and others, and all have seen a huge return on investment from implementing RPA. But it's not always easy. After years of experience and dozens of RPA projects, we have found that there are a few pitfalls to watch out for when doing RPA, and that's what we're here to talk about today. But before that, some of you may be asking, what is robotic process automation? So let's start with a quick video explaining what RPA is.
Robotic Process Automation, or RPA, uses software robots to automate the manual and repetitive tasks commonly seen in today's workplace. RPA can automate anything that you can define in a series of steps, such as logging into applications, copying and pasting data, transferring files, filling out forms, reading and writing to databases, and so much more. RPA delivers improved accuracy and reliability, while also freeing up your time to focus on things that are important. RPA can run 24/7, never gets sick, is quick to implement, and saves you money. And RPA typically only costs about 10% of an FTE's cost. It has been estimated that around 70% of all organizations will have begun implementing RPA by the end of 2020. We've helped organizations on their RPA journey. Whether you're looking to get started or just need some assistance, we are here to help.
Hopefully you now have a better understanding of what RPA is. Now I'd like to turn it over to Ryan to talk about some of the pitfalls and keys to success when doing RPA.
Thanks, Khaleesi. My name is Ryan Habrock, and I lead the RPA team here at EnterBridge Technologies. Hopefully that video helped everyone understand, at least at a high level, what RPA is and how it can transform your business by taking care of the repetitive and time-consuming tasks. But in order to truly transform your business with RPA, you need to make sure you're avoiding some common pitfalls. The three main pitfalls that we see over and over again are: 1, thinking RPA is easier than it really is; 2, picking the wrong use cases; and 3, not having a complete understanding of the process and lacking in process documentation. I'd like to start with an experience we had with one of our customers because it's fairly typical. They came to us struggling with their own automation efforts. They had heard about RPA, tried it on their own, and it just wasn't working like they wanted it to. It turns out they had fallen into all three of these pitfalls. They had identified automation as a priority and had assigned it to their IT department to pursue, but that team was already saddled with existing work. No one had prior RPA experience, but the business assumed they could just figure it out. With the right RPA platform, automating a process is certainly easier than coding from scratch, but you still need to understand the platform's capabilities and best practices, which is why we only use platform-certified RPA developers here at EnterBridge. On top of that, the customer had chosen to automate a business process that was mostly rules-based and high volume, but also had tons of business exceptions or deviations from the normal process. Business exceptions aren't necessarily bad and can be automated, but typically it's best to start your RPA journey with a more straightforward process. Finally, they didn't have any documentation of the existing process and just started developing the automation based on a few brief discussions with the business. As with most technical projects, a solution is usually only as good as the requirements, and that is certainly true with RPA. Before we start any RPA development, we always work with our customers to understand their process and create detailed documentation of that process. We note all of the systems that are involved, the steps that are taken, the business logic required, and any potential business exceptions that need to be handled. Luckily, even if you've fallen into any of these pitfalls, as this customer did, it isn't impossible to turn those things around with the right team. In a matter of a couple of months, our team was able to help the customer course correct, choose a better use case, document that use case in detail, develop an RPA solution using best practices, and quickly help them see ROI on that investment. And now we're several projects in with them, and they're loving RPA and the positive effect it has had on their business. So getting back to our three pitfalls, so many people think that RPA is easier than it really is. RPA done properly can be game-changing within an organization. It can free up people to do higher value work, it can improve compliance, It can clear out backlogs that people just can't keep up with, and so on. But RPA done poorly is just a waste of time and a waste of money. You need to have the right people that understand how to be successful from beginning to end on your RPA journey. That requires buy-in from leadership, a general understanding of RPA from the business, experienced business analysts to find and document the right processes, and strong developers to create a reliable solution. At EnterBridge, we do RPA all day, every day. We have experienced business analysts and platform certified RPA developers. We have the experience to help you every step of the way. And that includes helping you pick the right use case. Is it digital, repeatable, rules-based, and high volume or time-consuming, and involves stable systems? That's probably a great place to start. Is it paper-based? Does it require institutional knowledge? Are the systems and processes always changing? Does it only take 10 minutes every week? Those are probably ones that aren't good candidates for automation or may not have the ROI to make it worth it. There are use cases in every industry that are great for automation. Some ones we see most often are claims processing, compliance-related processes, and many others. It's just finding the right one that's key. Finally, we want to make sure we have a complete understanding of the process and document it fully. If you spent the time to find the right use case, you're probably already well on your way to avoiding this last pitfall. You could have the best RPA developers in the world, but if you don't understand the process and don't document it in detail, you will not have the success you're looking for. You need to identify your subject matter experts, the people who know the process better than anyone, and spend the time with them to understand every step of that process. This will jumpstart your development and exponentially increase your likelihood of success. So, to jumpstart your success with RPA, first, pick the right use case. Identify the low-hanging fruit, the well-understood, repeatable, rules-based digital processes within your organization, and start there. Once you get comfortable with RPA, then you can start to tackle more complex processes. Second, you need to understand and document your process completely. And most importantly, get the right people, starting with a partner like EnterBridge. As a partner, we have dedicated people who eat, breathe, and live RPA every day. We stay up on the newest technologies and best practices in the industry. We also know the right questions to ask when gathering your documentation and can help you every step of the way, whether you're just starting with RPA or you've already started but you're struggling. We know that RPA can transform your business. We've seen it with our own customers time and time again, and we'd love to help you make your RPA journey a successful one.
Thanks, Ryan. It looks like we have some questions, so we'll take a few moments to answer some of those. The first one is, what does a typical automation project cost?
So what does a typical automation project cost? That's a great question. It's really dependent on the process that we're automating. We've seen everything from 1 week to 3 or 4 months. Usually it doesn't extend beyond that 3 or 4 months, though. I'd say a typical project is probably 2 months and anywhere from 15 to 25,000 in cost, and that includes everything from gathering the requirements, doing the development, doing the deployment. Usually we build in a little production support time there to handle any bug fixes or anything that may come up post-deployment.
The next one is, what is the typical ROI timeline?
Yeah, and that kind of ties back to what I just said. So it's really dependent on the process. It could be 1 week from beginning to end. It could be 3 to 4 months from beginning to end, and that depends on how quickly we can talk to the people in your organization to figure out the process, the right process, the requirements around that process. But again, typically we're looking at I'd say 2 to 3 months from beginning to end, where we're talking about the right processes to identifying a process, documenting it, and developing it and deploying it.
And the next question is, what does it mean to be certified?
So what does it mean to be certified? So with any RPA platform, whether it's UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, most of those have certifications, especially for developers. And what that means is that developer has done the training, which usually involves weeks of taking courses and taking quizzes and tests to become certified on that platform. That means we understand the best practices, we stay up to date on the latest technologies and releases of that product, and just ensures that we're doing that automation in the most reliable and consistent way possible, so that you're getting the best automation out of us. And so you can rest assured that on any project that EnterBridge does, we're only using certified RPA developers. And we do that just to ensure that we're providing you the best possible solution.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for questions today. So we'll be sending out a copy of this webinar to those who have registered. And if you have any other questions, please reach out to us at rpa@enterbridge.com. Thanks again and have a great day.